Hi, this is Sean. Welcome to Guitar Reference Guide. Super excited about today's lesson. I'm going to be showing you how to play entry-level fingerstyle blues guitar. I've broken this lesson down into a series of categories. The first one, we're just going to learn how to drone the low E string, teach you the right technique for doing that. Then on the top, I'm going to teach you how to play melodies. We're going to learn how to play whole note melodies, half note melodies, quarter note, eighth note, and then I'm going to put it all together and we're going to learn how to play the intro to a killer tune, Susie Q by John Fogerty in CCR. After this, I've also written another piece. I've written a little etude that's going to take you through everything we discussed, and it's going to cover a 12-bar blues in E. After we cover the etude that I wrote, I'm going to teach you how to play a shuffle. Shuffle is a little different, a little more difficult, but I think it sounds really good. And I also wrote another piece for that. So once we show you how to play the shuffle, show you how to play the melodies on top, we're going to go through the piece of music that I wrote that's going to incorporate all of these different things. If you like what you see in this lesson, I created a PDF for the lesson. If you click the link below, it'll take you to my website. It'll help you follow the lesson, and there's a couple other bonus exercises in there as well. We have a lot to do, so let's dig in. Thanks so much for visiting me at guitarreferenceguide.com, and let's do it. Okay, so the main scale that we're going to use for this lesson is going to be the E minor pentatonic scale. The E minor pentatonic scale sounds something like this. We're not going to be playing it on the low E string or the A string. We're starting from the D string because on the bottom strings we're going to be holding down the rhythm. Here we go. Second fret, open G, second fret, open B, third fret, open E. And then we could also hit the G note. G note's in the scale too. The next one we're going to do is going to also start at the same place. But when we get to the G string, the second fret, we're going to move to the fourth fret, third fret, fifth fret, third fret on the G note on the high E string, and then the fifth fret, the A note on the high E string. So those are the two main scales that we're going to use for this lesson. Okay, for the first exercise, what we're going to do is I'm going to be playing quarter notes on the bottom on the low E string with my thumb. My thumb is going to be kind of like this if you look at it, the way I have it placed. And I have the palm of my hand just lightly resting on the bridge, and so it's where the bridge meets the string. So it kind of gets like a oomphy kind of sound. So that's what I'm going to do with my thumb. With my index finger, I'm going to be playing the top strings. And on the top strings, I'm going to be playing the whole notes, my index finger, using the E minor pentatonic scale starting at the G string. To put the metronome on 60 beats per minute, I'm going to want you to play along. I'm going to count us in, and here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. Okay, so that was playing straight whole notes on the top, quarter notes on the bottom. Okay, now we're going to switch it up and we're going to play the A string, and we're going to play quarter notes on the A string, and we're going to play that second scale that I showed you, the one that looks like this, both ascending and descending, but now we're going to play half notes, so it's going to be 2 beats for the top strings. And here we go, just like the last exercise, putting the metronome on 60 beats per minute. 1, 2, ready, play. Other direction, ascending. Okay, now we're going to play the quarter notes. So the quarter notes, for every bass note, I am going to be playing one of the top notes as well. Same scale, I'm going to go back to the E string now. 1, 2, ready, play. ascending. One more time. Okay, and now the next one we're going to do the eighth notes. With the eighth notes, we're going to be alternating both of these fingers. I like to start with my middle finger on the high E string and go like this. Starting with my middle finger while keeping the bass. So that's going to sound something like this. So for every bass note, I'm going to be playing 2 notes on the top. So here we go. I'm going to play, once again, 60 beats per minute, but now that we're playing eighth notes, it's going to be going a little bit quicker on the top. Twice as fast, actually. 1, 2, ready, play. Now ascending. Let's do that one more time. Ascending. Okay, now in the beginning of the lesson I discussed us playing a really popular classic tune that employs these techniques. So it's going to be Susie Q. John Fogerty wrote this with CCR. And this is a great example of utilizing all of the tools that we got today when we started. 1, 2, ready, play. Okay, now that you can play it plucking all the notes, we're going to add a couple of cool little details to make this sound a little bit better. When you get to the D string, instead of plucking when we hit the E, we're going to hammer it. And as we hammer it, we're going to hit that bass note with our thumb. We're going to do the same thing when we get to the A string. So here I'm open A, hammering to the 2nd fret and playing the E at the same time. So now if I play it with the hammers, it's going to sound like this. Sorry. Here it is. And that's Susie Q. Okay, so here's Susie Q at 126 beats per minute. Obviously, before you do 126 beats per minute, slowly, incrementally increase the speed till you can get up to that tempo. We started at 60. I would recommend going to 70, etc., till you get to 126, and this is what it sounds like at tempo. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, ready, play. 1, 2, ready, play. Okay, now that you can play Susie Q, what we're going to do is we're going to tackle a 12-bar blues in E, and we're going to use all the same tools as we did over Susie Q. So this is a little scale exercise I wrote. It's going to help you get familiar, and there's going to be a couple other little things in here that I think you're going to find really helpful. So I'm going to put the metronome on 60 beats per minute, and we're going to go through this scale exercise over a 12-bar blues. Here we go, 60 beats per minute. 1, 2, ready, play. B. Okay, the last thing we're going to discuss is we're going to talk a little bit about playing through a shuffle. Now, a shuffle has a different rhythm. Rhythm sounds like this. So instead of just playing straight quarter notes like this, the shuffle is a series of triplets. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. So the T in triplet gets left out. So it has that staggered kind of sound. So I'm going to count it out loud one more time. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Now I'm going to play it with some notes on top. Sounds something like this. So all the same concepts apply. The only difference now is instead of playing straight quarter notes, we're playing this shuffle feel. It makes it a little trickier, but I also think it makes it sound better. Okay, so now that we can play the shuffle, the notes on the bottom and the notes on the top, the last thing that we're going to do is I wrote this cool little piece that's going to incorporate everything that we talked about. There's going to be a couple other things in there, minor third to major third relationship. There's going to be some double stops, but all the notation is there, so I think you can get it. 1, 2, ready, play.